Hello, gentlemen. So let's start with our current affairs session. This is 18th September. All right. So as such, the current affairs that are of significance are few are new, but generally others are old and repetitive themes. Now, World Trade Report published by World Trade Organization formed in the year 1994 after Doha round of talks. So India has also been one of the founder member. All right, it recognizes and remember you need to quote these reports: World Trade Report, United Nations reports, Niti Aayog reports, Reserve Bank of India reports, okay, National Crime Records Bureau reports. All right. So these reports, these facts, exact data need not be there, but always remember these are authoritative documents, okay, which involves more of facts. Okay, which has to be sprinkled everywhere to argue, to place your argument better. All right, World Trade Report emphasizes that AI can have can contribute significantly towards global growth and also inclusive growth, because AI helps in cutting down the cost, all right, and improves the productivity. So it could lead to increase in the productivity, increase accumulation of profits, increase skill employment, and for that matter, something called skill premium. Skill premium matlab it is the ratio, or it is a gap, or the the multiples of multiples. For example, if the salary of a low skilled worker in a company to that of a high skilled worker, it is, say, this is, 2:1. All right, 2:1. Okay, the AI is going to contribute towards reducing that income difference. And more importantly, the medium and high skilled workers are more, are being increasingly substituted rather than those of low skilled workers. All right, thereby reducing relative demand for lower, higher skilled workers. Again, important. All right, it is not a factual thing, but definitely a thing which you can write in one of your, dimensions in your mains as well as essay. All right, then, sir, economies which are more open to trade experience stronger growth. Now, this becomes important because Donald Trump, as of today, as of 20th, he has levied approximately $1 million, matlab somewhere around 88 lakh rupees for every H1B visa. All right, this is a type of non-trade barrier. All right, sorry, it's a type of trade non-tariff barrier, restriction on the movement of now goods and services. And for that matter, India has also retaliated. All right, India has clarified. See here, if economies are more and more open, there will be a strong ecosystem of innovation. There will be spillover. All right, because intellectuals keep moving. All right, ideas start moving. Okay, and the companies start increasing their investments. All right, mobilize. There will be increase in the efficiency. All right, a 10% increase in the digitally deliverable services. All right, contributes. And for that matter, economies which are very rich in critical minerals such as India. Okay, India में renewable energy बहुत अच्छा है. All right, can become hubs for upstream inputs like hardware manufacturing. Okay, and more importantly, there are certain problems as well. It is not just advantages. It is a double-edged sword. It is highly concentrated in few firms, the two large firms, and they can become monopoly. Take the example of Google, OpenAI, Meta. Okay, if the data is extremely concentrated, it can pose risk towards equitable access. Any type of distress in any of these companies can create large-scale disruptions, and for that matter, displacement of some workers by automating tasks requires. Hence, education has to be revamped. All right. Now, where you can link this, one thing is the changing economy. All right, globalization, capitalism, capitalism, and aspects like inequality. All right, these are the areas, these are the areas, which where you can use this particular no, article. All right, then, sir, India has signed, the Paris, the Sustainable Development released by United Nations. All right, there are a set of 17. There are a set of 17 goals, 63 targets, okay, that India on the world as together is supposed to achieve by 2030. Now, To what extent have we achieved this? All right, and for that matter, should I by heart the goals also along with the numbers? Answer is absolutely yes. You can remember the 17 goals, and they talk about everything. मतलब you मान लो urban development, you talk about cooperation, you talk about education, you talk about housing, electricity, clean energy, etc. All right. Towards this, what is our achievements? Okay. In as we go further, we will discuss about what are India's accomplishments. All right. Towards the sustainable development goals, what are the measures that India took? Okay. How panchayats have been, ranked according to sustainable development goals, etc. All right. Now, in this, they throw some certain highlights that poverty and food security. See here, 376 million women are in extreme poverty, and it is anemia. Anemia is a very very serious deficiency. In fact, anemia mukt Bharat in India. Okay, girls in the age group of 19 to 49. All right, almost 57% of the girls have serious anemia. All right, this is called malnutrition. It is also called as hidden hunger. Matlab that hunger cannot be seen easily. All right, then all across the world, maternal mortality has reduced by 39%. All right, but women spend 3 years more in 3 years more in poor health. Okay, due to pregnancy, etc. And for that matter, girls surpass boys in terms of enrollment. All right, more and more, enrollment ratio is increasing among the girls, but where are they? Okay, where are they? Have they become politicians? Have they become, part of workforce? Because it says that yet they lag in secondary education, especially in Africa and Asia. All right, or for that matter, okay, in terms of decision, see 27% of parliamentary seats all across the world. Accordingly, you can go through some of the points. Okay, and yes, these are the certain things which you can, by heart and reuse again and again in the answer. All right, so UPSC is all about information management. All right, someone who has studied intensively for 1.5 year or 2 years, okay, you will have so much of knowledge. It becomes difficult to streamline the things and put it on paper in limited time. All right, that requires multiple revision. You don't have to, again, I do not suggest if you don't have mind space, do not read it. All right, yes, you can use other things to argue, place your argument better. Then, okay, Beijing plus 30 action agenda. Again, it's a typical prelims question. Again, towards fulfilling sustainable development goals. मतलब Beijing plus. Okay, 2030 के लिए how are we going to achieve some of the sustainable development goals? Okay, we have to invest in social protection. We need to close the gender divide. Gender divide मतलब inequality in access to digital infrastructure such as internet, mobile phones, okay, connectivity, digital literacy, etc. All right, ensure women's leadership in politics. Towards this, India has started, okay, Bharatiya Nara Shakti Abhiniyam. All right, or for that matter, towards enhancing gender security, women police station, enhanced workforce, women reservation in public services. All right, and we need to integrate gender also into various type of climate actions. Again, important. Now comes extreme climate events. So high event. So for your information, among the entire world, India is the sixth most vulnerable country in terms of disasters. Disasters matlab natural भी, man-made. Natural matlab cyclone, okay, cyclone, earthquake, tsunami. All right, and for that matter, 67% of India's land is prone to some or other type of disasters. All right, and for that matter, you can see that Karnataka ranks among the second state in terms of the most drought prone state. Okay, and set first is Rajasthan. All right, and 58% of India's agricultural land is still dependent upon monsoon. All right, matlab only 42% is irrigated. Okay, so India is very prone to disasters, and disasters take us almost 10% of our GDP, 10% of our GDP. It is equivalent to going 2 years back or 3 years back. All right. So India has enacted Disaster Management Act. Now we are being more proactive. Now we are trying to focus on resilient. We are trying to construct structures, okay, which are more resilient towards disasters. All right. So some facts that you can remember, some of the institutions which have been created by the Government of India: National Disaster Management Act, Disaster Management Authority headed by Prime Minister, State Disaster Management Authority headed by Chief Minister, okay, Disaster Management Authority headed by District Collector, all right, an early warning system towards tsunami, okay, and Indian Meteorological Department for better forecast of cyclones, all right, and Central Water Commission. Okay, now towards this, okay, so here they say that monsoon has affected Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, highlighting the importance of. So suddenly you saw many floods, okay, lot of displacements, distress. All right. So when you talk, no, this is a typical paper three concept, and again, this theme is repeating. All right. So what are the reasons for India's vulnerability? You have fold mountains. Okay. We have fold mountains. At the same time, we have we have cyclone vulnerability here, and we have, seismic zone, earthquake prone zone. So if you look at entire, northern part of India as well as, okay, up till the eastern part, all these are basically the Himalayan region. They are fold mountains. So regularly landslides, earthquakes are more happening. All right. Then you can talk about flash floods, flash floods. All right. So Uttarakhand flood may, yes, you have to quote this in the exam, and the Himalayan regions. Why, despite having so much of biodiversity, despite the necessity for us to construct more dams, we are unable to do because of the seismic zone 4 and 5. All right. Matlab, the South India comes under, or the peninsular India comes under, seismic zone 2. All right. Then apart, what are the reasons? Because of the excessive land use change, land use changes. But the way we are using our land, okay, we are constructing the dams, we are redistributing redistributing the mass, and we are accelerating the soil erosion. All right. And many glaciers have started, bursting out largely because of, faster accelerated melting. All right. So what should be done? You require community preparedness. All right. For example, NDMA is training. NDMA is training up the Mitra. Matlab, in every locality, they will train certain volunteers. Okay, who can take up the initiative, who can lead during a disaster, whenever there is a disaster, and for that matter, use of drones, satellites. All right, Doppler radars. Yes, definitely you have to write this in the mains examination. One thing, how science and technology helps in improving the livelihood. How science and technology plays a critical role in India's efforts towards building a sustainable future. All right. And apart from this, towards better preparedness, we have national remote sensing centers, okay, which works with using remote sensing satellites. All right, to monitor the glacial lakes in real time, and we have Geological Survey of India to expand the landslide mapping, that is called hazard zone mapping. All right, which are the regions which are more prone? Can we create a 3D model? All right, to ensure that we can plan our mitigation efforts better. All right, then. Then comes something important. All right, EU proposes new strategic, because strategic EU India agenda to enhance bilateral relation. Now, soon after Donald Trump's tariff backlash, both India and European Union look at increasing their investments towards each other, removing their restrictions. All right, towards this, India, European Union has launched a comprehensive program called Global Gateway. Sir, what is this Global Gateway? All right, to mobilize investment for infrastructure projects and leverage EU's financial and regulatory power. All right, hire more and more Indians, send more and more money to India, transfer of capital, transfer of labor. All right, removal of restrictions. All right, it presented transparent, sustainable, and value-based investment model. All right. A value-based investment model rather than debt trap diplomacy. The way you give money and put you in a debt so that you'll always be obliged and you fall into a crisis. All right. And for that matter, let the growth be also, because now we have Bharat stage 6, right? Okay, this was based on euro standards, euro standard 6. Okay, Like that, European Union standardizations are extremely good. So accordingly, it can be planned. All right. So you just upper say you don't, they will not ask you, definitely they will not ask you in detail, but you should be aware about this, okay, for the preliminary examination. Then something very, very important, what is called, Mahasagar Mission for Harmonized and Agile Maritime Awareness and Geopolitical Alliances for Resilience. Okay, if you remember, if you are able to remember, remember for good sake. All right, even if you don't remember, uh, at least don't try to forget. Okay, so Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. Okay, इसका revamped version है Mahasagar. All right, to have more and more awareness and engagement towards all the stakeholders. All right, ensure that India ka real time surveillance, okay, and information sharing is up to date, and we enhance our maritime security and check all the illegal activities. Okay, and foster cooperation with all the neighboring countries across the Indian Ocean littoral. Matlab those are open to Indian Ocean. All right. So can we integrate India's Mahasagar with European Union's global gateway towards increasing our trade, towards improving our relation? Okay, can we create, more jobs? Is what is all this particular agreement about? All right, gentlemen. So in this prosperity and sustainability, okay, the five strategic pillars, it drives economic growth. All right, and for that matter, a free trade agreement between India and EU. All right, important, important. As such, we have, we the negotiation is still happening. All right, whether we can send, we can buy European liquor, whether we can buy European certain goods which are right now subject to extreme customs. All right, whether India is prepared to, for agricultural goods from European Union at such a very competitive price. All right, what about the job disruptions, especially in agriculture sector? All right, and investment protection agreement. Matlab, it's all about it's about, if any foreign entities come to India and invest, they have to be treated on par with any Indian entity. All right, the government should not compulsorily tax more. The government should not, give biased judgments in the courts for these such large investments. All right, and implement EU-India semiconductor agreement to manufacture semiconductor in India, decarbonize heavy industries such as steel and cement. All right, toward for an advancing towards clean transition, and establish EU-India innovation hubs like you have Atal Mission. Then advance a conducive digital environment to collaborate on something called digital public infrastructure like UPI. All right, like the payment systems that we have. All right, Aadhaar linking of the bank account for better service delivery. All right, so enhance skill mobility, knowledge, etc. All right, and for that matter. uh, they are reluctant to come much closer to India because of India's strong, support towards Russia, or inability to, inability to respond to their concerns on Russia, India purchasing Russian oil. All right. So these are some of the areas where and again important for the mains examination, because European Union is one of our largest trading bloc and some of the cutting edge technological research. For example, international, thermonuclear thermonuclear project, or and the nuclear energy projects are happening with in collaboration with France, in collaboration with Canada, in collaboration with many other countries. And you might have heard about LEGO experiment, all right, which got Nobel Prize for discovering the God particle. All right. Yes. So next comes, Adi Yogi Abhiyan. Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan. This is, as such, there will be, complete streamlining of all the programs done by the central state governments and by the local governments, okay, to increase participation among the villagers across India. All right. So it's an initiative by Ministry of Tribal Affairs to build a decentralized tribal leadership. All right. So here the three pillars include, okay, Adi Karma Yogi. Adi Karma Yogi are government officers. All right. Adi Sahayogi are the local personalities, okay, such as yoga teachers, some educated people among the community, then Sati. All right, these are the people who are change makers, elders, respected, okay, who are very influential in that locality. So all two, three together come together to 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 ensure that there is responsive governance and there is last mile service to the tribal people. As such, there will be no new schemes. Okay, no new schemes. Okay, it is based about convergence of the schemes. All right, to bring together schemes such as Pradhana Mantri Janman, okay, or Dharti Aba Janjatiya Gram Uttaraksh Abhiyan. All right, Dajua. All right, you can remember this. Apart from this, some of the legal measures, some of the facts related to the tribal distribution, particular vulnerable tribes, okay, and the tribal leaders who have become chief ministers. All right, what are the constitutional protections such as SC ST commission. All right, and apart from this, Adivani app. All right, where government officers, okay, they can communicate with the tribal communities in their own native languages. All right. And for that matter, Adi Seva Kendras for the efficient redressal of their grievances. Okay, again important for the prelims as well as mains. Then see this particular region. This is called the earlier, or this is the Eurasian, but these were some of the countries here. They were earlier part of USSR. All right. So Russia now wants to bring together, okay, with a common currency. All right. Soon after 1981 split ke baad, now they want to revive the relationship, not to have a one again union, but rather a trade union. All right. That is called Eurasian Economic Union on similarly on the lines of European Union. All right. Okay, sir. So who are the countries important? ऊपर से याद रखिए. Okay. Now India government wants to have a free trade agreement. Free trade agreement. All right. So we have what is called international, north south transport corridor. All right. And these countries are rich in oil as well as nuclear energy. Nuclear mineral resources are there. In fact, Kazakhstan is also one of the members of nuclear supplier group, and it has one of the world's largest uranium reserves. Okay, but again there is a problem with Pakistan, with which we cannot have a direct pipeline. All right, then then let us see the small issue where you might be familiar with the Gaza conflict. Nearly 3 million people have lost their lives, and it seems that it seems that the innocents have been targeted. So it is like you are a very good boxer, but you are doing fighting with all the children. All right, so the conflict is between the army and the children, so innocents are being targeted. So is there a hidden agenda of genocide? Matlab, ensure that entire Palestine people are completely wiped out. All right, wiped out. So certain part, religious groups are completely wiped out so that they don't create any type of threat. If if not, then why is that there are so many, violence against the civilians? Now, when such case is filed before International Court of Justice issues notice. Okay. See, on you, there is a case that is has been charged, so you are expected to present before the court and put forth your defense. All right. Now, genocide itself is and this is not the first time that genocides is charges have been filed. All right, it used to happen in Africa. All right, it used to happen in Western Asia. All right, now the issue has come up once again, and here you can definitely the questions may not come 99% chances, but definitely you can include this. What is the role of United Nations? Okay, how meaningful they are in discharging their duties. All right, and have they despite several United Nations framework, how come Israel attacks all the six neighboring countries in one go, eliminate their top leaders, threaten the sovereignty and integrity of other countries? All right, will it expect the same standard from others? No, right? So, what is it, etc., is what's and that small debate about. All right, now comes multidisciplinary partnership. All right, a very, 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 very not so important but a very powerful tool to boost India's growth. So क्या होता है अगर एक firm, okay, if this is a law firm, all right, a law firm is when it registers with the government, this law firm has to engage only in law. All right, but what about technology integrating? So what? How can I hire technology people? How can I hire doctors? How can I hire a health specialist, hospitality specialist? All right, so that my company will not be restricted only to law, but to use a specialization in almost all the different sectors. All right, so these are multi, no. So they moves beyond simple networking and contracting. All right. They pool diverse expertise. They share the risks. All right. Work towards a common goal. Align around the shared vision. All right. And create an integrated solution because we should not work in silos. See, even if you are a history student, you need to study a little bit of geography, little bit of economics, right? All right, so that you need to have a comprehensive picture. That is how a company also should be having freedom to hire from different resources. Okay, so the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has invited comments on Indian multidisciplinary partnership firms. Now we have LLPs, limited liability partnerships. What about MLPs or MDPs? All right. Okay, so because doing so, we can increase our investments we can attract more investments, okay, from the global market. So they say that $240 billion of global market is this worth market is worth. All right, then, okay, something more important that we need to see here is the payment aggregator system. All right, payment aggregator, matlab, okay, if you visit Amazon website, if you visit Amazon site, all right, you see when you get into the payment option, whether it is cash, whether it is card, whether it is a card, a debit card, and whether it is UPI, all these are not services provided by Amazon. Okay, Amazon will hire another payment aggregator. All right, they aggregate various payment systems and ensure the connection between Amazon as well as the consumer or the retailer happens smoothly. All right, now this payment aggregator has to get registered with the Reserve Bank of India. All right, very, 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 very important. All right, now Reserve Bank of India can punish anyone, okay, if you are not following certain rules and regulations under what is called Payment and Settlement Act. All right, okay, and so Reserve Bank is the final settlement settler, and okay, all our various transactions such as IMPS, all right. IMPS and various type of or UPI payments are all guaranteed by whom? By the Reserve Bank of India. Okay. Now, apart from this, certain other things that you should know here is, okay, if you want to send money overseas also, such organizations are also registered with the Reserve Bank of India. So it is not SEBI. All right, not to be confused. Okay, and any type of dispute happens, the resolution will be done again by the Reserve Bank of India, and it can give a lot of directions, and it will provide a legal framework. All right, and it requires all payment system operators to obtain RBI approval. Okay, yes. Okay, so this is the Payment and Settlement Act. Then comes the Nari Shakti, Swasth Nari Shakti, sorry, Swasth Nari Shashakt Parivar Abhiyan. So, as I discussed earlier, India is facing an acute problem of malnutrition, especially among women. So, some facts you can see here. Some facts like okay, it's not given here, I guess. It's not given here, I guess. So, nevertheless, just ऊपर ऊपर से याद रखिए, and yes, you have to study this as a core part in your statics as well. Okay, so in terms of in terms of immunization, in terms of hypertension, diabetes, okay, inequity in access to healthcare, women indicators are actually lagging behind. In order to correct that, okay, Prime Minister has launched, स्वस्थ नारी सशक्त परिवार अभियान. सर, ये पहली पहली स्कीम नहीं है. ऑलराइट, ऐसे बहुत स्कीम आया है. देखिए देखिए, पोषण योजना. All right. Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment, or for that matter, you might have heard about midday meal scheme. You might have heard about pre-nursery, all right, preschool, all right, where they give you, Anganawadis, or all right, Pradhana Mantri Matru Anjana Yojana. all right, or midday meal scheme, anemia mukt Bharat, all right. So these are a bit old, but again, these are repetitive. All right, you can definitely, when you're analyzing a particular concept, you can definitely write. Okay, but as much as possible, be very updated. All right. So towards this, the government wants to organize 1 lakh health camps. All right, 1 lakh health camps, be it mobile camps, etc. All right, and Shashakt portal will track the progress to ensure accountability. All right, then then comes, you don't have to read this. This is, you know, not of significance for civil service examination, though. All right, then see, in civil services, one thing you should remember is what not to read. All right, what not to read. See here, there were three types of models in construction of, construction of infrastructure projects, right? Okay, construction of infrastructure projects. Now, what are they? Build, okay, see here, engineering, procurement, okay, and commissioning. Engineering, procurement, and construction, sorry. EPC model. Alright, EPC model में, sir, I want to construct this road. The government wants road construction. Alright, uh, you bring all the engineering, you put all your technology, etc. The government will, give you all the money that is required, and they will go back, and all the risk, whether it works or not, it is up to the government. All right, then this is one type of model. But another is PPP model, or build operate transfer model. Here the government says, see, I will give you this complete land. Okay, you develop the roads, you develop the infrastructure, and I will not pay you any cost. All right, for next 100 years or so, next 25, 30 years, this infrastructure is yours. All right, you can make any type of money. Okay, and after 30 years, you have to give back to me. So the risk is borne by whom? Developer. All right. So towards this also, the private sectors were in the beginning, they were finding it difficult. So a mix of both is what is this hybrid annuity. Annuity matlab, it's a one-time grant. For example, I start the project. All right. After I start the project, the government, once I fulfill certain minimum criteria, it starts releasing 40% of the fund. All right. And next 60% of the fund is released, it is raised by the private sector in the form of debt. Okay. And because government, it's a government project. So risk is shared both by the government as well as a developer. Okay. And the government under concessional norms, it will help the private sector towards getting the funds, because government stake is also involved. Okay, so this will bring a specialization from both the private sector as well as the public sector, the private sector as well as the public sector, because there will be faster completion of the project, and it will attract the private investments. And the more importantly, this will help in boosting infrastructure, because infrastructure, matlab more roads, more electricity, okay, more dams which are required. Okay, then then comes a small important country called Mozambique. उसका capital है Maputo. So Mozambique आता है इधर, बस ऊपर ऊपर से देखिए. All right, why? Because sorry, this is the region. Okay, Mozambique का capital देखो और important rivers देखिए. Okay, because Africa is going to be the, because 21st century is going to be an African century, because of the increasing, population, resource, okay, political stability coming into, Africa. Okay, so that's all, gentlemen. That's all for the day. Thank you. God bless you all.